Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be doing our chapter 3, that is Nationalism in India. We will be focusing on the national movement as well as the various movements which led to the independence of our country. Okay, starting off, we already studied about nationalism in our chapter 2 as well as in our chapter 1, right? So when we say nationalism means when people of a country or maybe a group of people, okay, who has the same ideology and who has the same thinking to transform the society into a better society for the future, it is called as nationalism. When people of a country, okay, come with the same ideas, okay, and fight in order to improve the country, it is called as nationalism. Okay, in terms of India also, we have been seeing national movement since 1857, okay, when the first war of independence happened. Okay, but here in this chapter we will be focusing more on the role played by Gandhiji and his idea of Satyagraha. The First World War, Khilafat and the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so the First World War, okay, was the time when Indians realized about the Indian national movement as well, to a larger context. It was there from before, but they never realized for India to have this kind of feeling. Okay, why did the Indians have this kind of idea? Okay, during the First World War, because during this time, even though the Indians were not fighting the First World War, the British people were fighting. And so in turn, the Indians had to pay huge amount of, they had to work for the British people. Okay, they had to work for the British people. The custom duties were increased at large, okay, where the export of goods was very high as well as the import of goods in India became very high as well. Okay, and they had to pay a huge amount of money as tax to the British officials so that they would be able to fight the war. Okay, so economically India was helping British fight the First World War. At this instance, the people were suffering and their conditions were very miserable. Okay, and by 1914 to 1918, okay, there was an increase in the price of rice, okay, in India. So what happened was that here the peasant community, the poor people in India, they were suffering at the cause of the British, because these prices were increased only to benefit the British to fight the war. Okay, and so in India, most of the farmers as well as the poor people and the peasants, they suffered at large. Okay, and most of the people died of hunger as well during this time. Okay, and another incident happened. Okay, another incident happened between the period of 1918 1919, okay, from 1920 and from 1921. Okay, what happened was that famine broke out in India. Famine means there was no food production. Okay, there were crop failures, okay, due to various factors. And so what happened was that people at large began to suffer. They had no food. Okay, most of the people were malnourished. Okay, at this instance, people realized that they need to do something out of it, okay, in order to free themselves from the people. So during this period of time, around 13 million people died of famine, okay, as well as epidemic, okay, diseases which broke out in India, okay, which killed huge number of people. Okay, moving on, okay, we will be doing with a person called Mahatma Gandhi and Satyagraha. Okay, his real name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, but popularly known as Mahatma Gandhi or the father of the nation. Okay, so Mahatma Gandhi for a brief period of time, okay, he was working as a lawyer in South Africa. Okay, so during his stay in South Africa as well, he went against the government for racist attack on the South African people. Okay, and during this time he adopted the idea of Satyagraha. Okay, and he led the people out there as well. Okay, so he returned back to India in 1915. Okay, so when he returned back to India, his ideas and aspirations were on a very large scale, and he also wanted the Indians to realize about themselves, and they should be independent from the British rule. Okay, so he wanted to advocate the idea of Satyagraha, okay, and bring the nation into an independent country. Okay, so he tried as well as he wanted to help the Indians. Okay, so what he did first, initial years when he landed up in India, he began to travel extensively to the interior villages in India. Okay, try to learn the problems of the Indian farmers, Indian peasants. Okay, so when he got to learn all the condition and problems of these peasants and the poor people, he began to advocate his idea of Satyagraha among his people. Okay, so when I say Satyagraha, okay, it means using non-violent means. Okay, they will protest against the government, but they will use non-violent means. Okay, without arms and ammunition, they will ask the government in a very good way, okay, to leave as well as to free the Indians. Okay, so according to his Satyagraha, okay, he gave 5 virtues that every Indian should be following. Okay, number 1 was spinning. Okay, so with the modern technology, with modernity coming in India, Gandhiji wanted Indians to be self-reliant. Okay, he wanted Indians to make their own clothes, okay, by spinning, and be financially stable without depending on the British. Okay, he also wanted to remove untouchability in India, because untouchability was existent from a very long time, and it also swept in this era. Okay, so what Gandhiji wanted was, he wanted to remove untouchability. Once untouchability was removed from India, what would happen? Okay, if untouchability was removed, then people would be united. Okay, and they would be able to fight the fight of independence. Okay, non-consumption of alcohol. Gandhiji also felt that alcohol was a factor which was destroying the Indian, okay, the unity of the Indian. So what he wanted to do was, he wanted to remove the consumption of alcohol among the Indian people. Okay, so he advocated this idea in his 5 virtues. Okay, the 4th point is Hindu-Muslim unity. Okay, so if Hindus and Muslims were not united in a country like India, okay, then they will not be able to fight this war of independence against the British. Okay, so what he wanted to do was, he wanted to unite both Hindus and Muslims, okay, both coming from different perspective in terms of religion, okay, but he wanted to unite all these people in order to fight the war against independence. Okay, number 5 is equality. He wanted equality among all people of India, in terms of caste system, in terms of gender inequality. Okay, gender inequality was prevalent in India, caste was in existence. Okay, so Gandhiji wanted to bring equality in all terms, so that people in India would be able to fight the war. Okay, would be able to fight for the independence, okay, not war. Okay, will be able to protest as well as get freedom from the British people. Moving on, we'll be dealing with Champaram Satyagraha, which was led by Gandhiji. Okay, so Champaram is an area located in northern Bihar. Okay, so we can just see in the map of India where Champaram is located. Okay, it is in the northern part of Bihar. Okay, so what happened in this Champaram? Okay, the indigo planters, likewise, I told you, right, the British, they wanted the Indian people to cultivate indigo at large because indigo was in huge demand in Britain. Okay, so they made Indians to cultivate indigo at large. So when this happened, people, they didn't cultivate other crops. Okay, so they focused only on indigo because it was providing them with money as well. Okay, so what happened? The British, okay, they were started to oppress, as well as they started mistreating the peasants who were cultivating indigo. Okay, and also they set up a fixed price for this indigo to be sold in the British market. Okay, so it was not benefiting the Indians because the rate was very low. Okay, compared to the British products that were coming in. Okay, so the Indian cultivators, the Indian peasants had to suffer at large, and they were also mistreated by the British on a very large scale. Okay, so at this instance, okay, the people of Champaram called the help of Gandhiji. Okay, they called the help of Gandhiji. Okay, and so along with him, Dr. Rajendra Prasad also started the campaign in Champaram. Okay, they advocated the idea of Satyagraha, and he asked the indigo planters, okay, not to cooperate with the British officials. Okay, and so when this happened, the British government was shaken. Okay, they were shaken, and they had to have a committee. Okay, they have to have a inquiry committee in this matter. And so in 1917, with Gandhiji as one of his members, okay, what happened was that the Champaram Agrarian Act was released. Okay, and according to it, the problems of the indigo planters was solved up to an extent. Okay, so in this Champaram Satyagraha, Gandhiji was successful in advocating his ideas, okay, and helping the indigo planters. Okay, next we have the Kheda campaign, which started in 1918. Okay, so here in this map we can find Kheda in Gujarat. Okay, it is in Gujarat, and here, okay, Kheda is also known as Kirai. Okay, so what happened here was this region faced a prolonged period of drought. Okay, drought means no rainfall, no source of water, and so with this, okay, people, they were not able to cultivate crops, and people were suffering from famine because there was no food for them. Okay, and so what happened? Okay, they went to the Bombay government. Okay, insisted of extracting its land revenue. So they were paying land revenue to the government. So they appealed to the government to remove the land revenue. Okay, so the government said, if any person, okay, in Kheda, if any person or any farmer in Kheda, okay, produces less than 25% of crops, okay, then the government can look into the matter and reduce the tax rate, okay, 25%, but it was just for namesake. Okay, people in Kheda, they were producing less than 25%. Okay, even after they told the government, okay, the government, they forged the things up, okay, and they said that the cultivators were lying to them. Okay, and the government had no intention of reducing the revenue in Kheda. At this instance, these people called the help of Gandhiji. okay, and here also he advocated the idea of Satyagraha, okay, and he gathered a large number of people and they started the struggle, okay. But what happened was that in June 1918, okay, the government, most of the people, okay, were put to jail, okay, and the campaign went on. But in June 1918, okay, the government conceded to the demands of the worker, okay. So here also Gandhiji was successful in suppressing, and helping suppressing the government as well as helping the okay. Next we have the Ahmedabad Satyagraha, which started in 1918, okay. So this was commonly known as the Ahmedabad Mill this was known as the Ahmedabad Mill Strike, okay, or maybe Ahmedabad Mill Satyagraha, okay. So this was initiated by the mill workers, okay. It was a cotton mill, but what happened was that these laborers were given less amount of wages, okay, and their working condition was very deplorable. It was not in a state where they would be able to work, but they were given very less pay as well, okay. So the workers started protesting against the mill owners, okay. These mills were owned by the British people, okay. So Ahmedabad is located in the region of Gujarat as well, okay. And so what happened? Gandhiji along with his people, they followed the idea of Satyagraha, and what they did was they went for a fast, okay, which was on a very extreme level, okay. It was a fast until death, and so with no other option, okay, the mill owners agreed with their terms and increased their pay by 35%, okay. They increased the pay of all the mill workers by 35%. So at this instance, okay, till this instance, we can come to know that Gandhiji played a very crucial role in advocating his ideas of Satyagraha in South Africa, okay, as well as when he came back, okay. Champaram, Ahmedabad, Kedah were all successful, okay. People followed to the norms of and the norms as well as the values of the Satyagraha, okay, and they followed the ideas of Gandhiji on a very large context, okay, which ultimately led them to the success of these movements, okay. So in our next class we will be learning more about the Khilafat movement and the non-cooperation, okay. So everyone, when you're writing your assignment, please mention the part as well, okay, part 1, and then you can start off with your assignment. And most of you can do your assignments in your notebook, okay, or you can just type and send me, okay. Thank you everyone, have a nice day.